Respondit ergo Iesus et dixit eis, nolite murmurare in invicem. Therefore Jesus answered and said to them, don't grumble amongst yourselves. In this short verse, there's really one main star here that we're going to talk about, one really interesting construction that's worthy of some extra notice. Very quickly, we can just buzz over dixit eis. We've seen this many times. Indirect object with a verb of speaking. Here's another one, respondit, going with the same pronoun there ultimately. Nolite is our way in Latin of saying don't. That is, it's a negative imperative. It's a prohibition, prohibitional command. We could say, literally it means don't want to, like don't be willing to do this, be unwilling to do this. But most naturally it corresponds to English do not, then generally plus infinitive. That's what we have here. Do not grumble, right? But do not grumble in what way particularly? Invicem is an adverb, an indeclinable adverb here, which comes from in plus vicis. Vicis means something like change or turn, in the sense of my turn, your turn, if we're playing a game of tag, for instance, or maybe something like alternation. So in plus vicis, invicem, means something like mutually, in turn, amongst one another, something like that. So it's the equivalent of, let's say, the Latin phrase inter vos here. He's telling them, Jesus is, stop grumbling around amongst yourselves. Like I hear what's going on here and I understand the significance. So why invicem and not just invicem, which would really technically do all of the explaining that we need to? Probably because at some point people ceased to remember, popularly at least, the origins, etymological origins of invicem, or ceased to become very conscious of them at least. They didn't really think about it and began to treat invicem as really more of a noun than an adverb. And so naturally, if one is thinking that way, in plus accusative, sort of in the sense of inter, might make sense in a speaker's mind. This is a little bit difficult to reconstruct because it's a changing idiom in a language that is foreign to us. And we can barely understand sometimes the origins of our own English idioms, let alone those in another language.